So it gives higher limits for elective deferrals and catch-up contributions for small businesses. It's a huge win because with a simple IRA plan, you're not able to contribute as much as you were if you, say, had your employer offered a traditional plan. So this is a big win for those with simple IRA plans. Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Paycheck. I'm Paula Christine. First, I want to wish you a Happy New Year. I hope everything went well for you during the holiday season, and you've got, some goals or some things that you want to work on for 2024. Personally, I made absolutely no New Year's Eve resolutions because, I know myself and likely I'm not going to have them. So what I try to do is typically in the next 3 months, I actually read a book called The 12-Week Year, which you might want to pick up. It's a great thing to look at your year in actually 4 time periods versus looking at it all at 1 year. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. Today, we're going to talk about the Secure 2.0 Act that has some changes coming for 2024. So in 2022, the Secure Act was passed, and there were some changes in 2023. And so there are some really major things taking effect in 2024. So one of the first exciting changes is all about matching student loan payments. Now, picture this. You're diligently trying to pay off those student loans, and your employer steps and says, hey, I'm going to help you. So with the Secure 2.0 Act, employees who make student loan repayments may receive matching employer contributions to their retirement plan. It's as if you're doubling up on your savings effort. So it's kind of a win-win-win, but remember, it has to be something that your employer initiates. So there are some additional changes. So we've got some fantastic early withdrawal exceptions. Those pesky penalties that you get for taking money out prior to 59 and a half. Typically you've got that 10% penalty. Well, they've added some new exceptions to that rule. So one exception is the emergency expenses. So if you need some extra cash for a personal or family emergency, you can now make one penalty distribution of $1,000 in a calendar year. So no need to fret, but remember there's always a catch. You can't make any further emergency distributions for the next 3 years unless you pay back the funds or you make new contributions equal to that withdrawal. Now, this is actually really kind of cool. So for those who have been victims of domestic abuse they can make a penalty-free withdrawal equal to the lesser of $10,000 or 50% of their account value. Now, this is huge. So it gives them, a leg up to be able to maybe get out of that situation. So it's a big step towards financial freedom for them. Okay, changing subjects. So let's talk about emergency savings accounts. So employers can now create these cool emergency savings accounts linked to their retirement plans. It's like having your cake and eating it too. So what you're going to be able to do is employees can contribute after-tax dollars up to 3% of their salary with an annual cap of $2,500, and employers can even match. So it's like having matching contributions to your emergency savings account. That's really, really cool. So the best part is these matching funds go right into your workplace retirement account. Now, I know we've got the emergency up to $1,000 that you can withdraw out of your IRAs for emergencies or 401ks for emergencies that we just talked about. And then we have this potential. Now, again, your employer has to initiate this cool emergency savings account where your employer can potentially match. But let's go down to this. Do you not have an emergency account? If you don't, then you need to put something in place to make that happen. So if you have the ability to just try to even save just $1,000 over the next year. So what does that break down to? Maybe doing quick math in my head, maybe about $82 a month. If you can put $82 a month into a emergency account, emergency savings, that could be like the cushion that you go to first before you would touch your retirement savings plans. So it's really important to have that emergency account and do whatever you can. So even if it's, putting $10 a week in it, it takes you a couple years to get to that $1,000, just start putting away money for emergencies. If you have that emergency account and something happens, you don't have to use a credit card. And using credit cards is when people end up getting themselves in trouble. So please make that a New Year's resolution, even though I don't like New Year's resolutions, but make that maybe a goal to establish that in 2024. So next we're going to move into the RMD rules. So there needed to be some clarification. So it can be confusing to try to figure out your RMD in the first place, but now they've added some age changes to even make it more complicated. So prior to the Secure Act, you needed to take your RMD at age 70 and a half. Now, RMD starts at age 73 for those people born between 1951 and 1959. Now, in 2033, those people born in 1960 or later, your RMD is going to be age 75, just to add more to the confusion. So there's some great news. So there's no more RMDs required from Roth workplace accounts starting in 2024. So what that means is that if you're required to take a requirement distribution, you do not have to take that from your Roth workplace 401k or 403b plan in 2024. You can let the money continue to grow tax-free. Okay, so I'm going to switch subjects for a second. We're going to talk about the 529 plan. I think this is a great rule. So a lot of people get stuck with having excess funds in their 529 plans. So what do you do with it? So the options are you change the beneficiary, or you withdraw it and close the account, and you paid a 10% penalty on your earnings and taxes. So now the beneficiaries of those 529 plans can transfer the funds from the Roth IRA starting this year up to a lifetime limit of $35,000. So they can take the 529 funds and they can transfer it to a Roth IRA. So there are some caveats to this. The 529 plan had to be in place for 15 years, and that the Roth contribution limits do apply. So it's not that you can transfer that $35,000 in 1 year. It may take you a few years to get that money transferred over completely. But what a huge, huge step forward in what to use with those excess funds instead of taking the penalty to withdraw or transferring to another beneficiary. Now, so we're going to jump into some employer issues. So anybody with a simple plan, so employers with simple IRAs, listen up. You can now make additional non-elective contributions up to $5,000 or 10% of an employee's contribution or compensation. So it gives higher limits for elective deferrals and catch-up contributions for small businesses. It's a huge win because with a simple IRA plan, you're not able to contribute as much as you were if you had your employer offered a traditional plan. So this is a big win for those with simple IRA plans. Now, there are some other rules that came into play with that. So I would suggest reaching out to your financial advisor or your tax person to discuss what those rules are. Now, we're going to go back we're going to change even subjects again. We're going to talk about qualified charitable distributions. So a qualified charitable distribution comes into play when you are taking required minimum distributions from your retirement accounts. So this is a conversation for those that are over the age of 70 and a half. So prior to that, you could take up to $100,000 annually from your IRAs, your traditional IRAs, and gift that to charity. And you would not pay taxes on that distribution. That has now been indexed to $105,000 for 2024. So it's a great way to give back to your public charity while keeping your taxes low. It's a huge benefit for those who are needing to take their required minimum distributions, don't necessarily need the money, or that they give to their church or other organizations, charitable organizations anyway. You might as well give to them using your retirement dollars inside of your traditional IRAs. Okay, before we wrap up, there's a quick mention of the Secure Act's provision for catch-up contributions on a Roth basis for employees earning more than $145,000 annually. While this was originally set to take place in 2024, the IRS announced in 2023 that there's going to be a 2-year administration transition period, so we'll have to wait till 2026 for this change to take place. So that pretty much wraps it up. So if you have any questions regarding the changes, I do have a PDF that I can send out to you. Reach out to me at paula@paulachristine.com. Also I would talk to your financial planner and your tax prep person to go over anything that is specific to you. So remember, a lot of these have to do with your employer plans. So you may need to reach out to your employer to see if they'd be interested in applying some of these to their current benefits. So there's a lot going on in making it easier to build emergency accounts and to save for your retirement. So, be sure to keep an eye out for these changes. And again, talk to your employer to see if they're willing to, institute any of these changes for you. So I appreciate you listening to me and Beyond the Paycheck. And I hope you have a great new year, and I will talk to you soon.